and welcome back to Achievers. I am Ivy Banerjee. Today we are going to discuss one of the very interesting chapters on respiratory system. Now, respiration and breathing is not the same thing. We breathe by inhaling oxygen, exhaling carbon dioxide. But respiration is a metabolic process. Now, the food that we eat together with the oxygen gives us energy. This energy which help us for all our activities, running, walking, talking, sleeping, everything we do because of it. To begin with, what is respiration? Respiration, it is a chemical process of releasing energy by breaking down of glucose for carrying out the life process. Now, what is this life process? As I told you, that is all our activities, right from our circulatory movement, respiratory movement, blinking of our eyes, shaking our hands, everything. These are all the life processes. And glucose is the main source of our energy, which can be denoted by a chemical reaction as C6H12O6, which is a carbohydrate or the glucose form. On oxidation will give you carbon dioxide, water and energy. This energy which we are getting, it is in the form of ATP. Now what is this ATP? It is, the full name of ATP is adenosine triphosphate. It is a chemical compound. Now 5 points, if you just remember, which will help you to understand what is this chapter is all about. What are these 5 points? First point is, since all respiration, it occurs in the cell or in the tissue, so it is known as cellular respiration or tissue respiration. So first point is, respiration is since it occurs in a cell, so it is a cellular respiration or a tissue respiration it is called. Second point is, it is a series of chemical steps. Now this glucose breaking down into carbon dioxide and water and energy, though it is looking a very simple step, but it is a series of chemical steps. It has to go through a series of chemical steps. It occurs in the cytoplasm or in the mitochondria of a cell. First point we said it occurs in the cell, and which part of the cell does it occurs? It occurs in the cytoplasm or in mitochondria. Through with the 2 points. Now the third point. These series of chemical steps involves enzymes. So each step will involve lot of enzyme. So first point I said it occurs in the cell, cellular respiration. Second point I said it occurs in the which part of the cell, that is in the cytoplasm or in the mitochondria. Third point I said the series of chemical steps involves enzyme. Through with the 3 points. What are the fourth point? Now energy liberated in the form of ATP. As I said, it is a chemical name of this ATP is adenosine triphosphate. Remember in the earlier chapters we talked about adenosine diphosphate ADP. This ADP again on oxidation will involve ATP. So this ATP, you remember in this way, ATP is like a bank, right? 1 mole of glucose will yield you 38 molecules of ATP. This is a standard norm. Okay, so how many molecules or how many moles of energy you are utilizing, that will depend upon the ATP which is liberated in this equation. And these essential steps are same in both plants and animals. So what are the 5 points? Just a quick recap. Since respiration occurs in the cell, it is called as cellular or a tissue respiration. Second point, it is a series of chemical steps. It occurs in the cytoplasm or in the mitochondria of a cell. Third point, these series of chemical steps involve lot of enzymes. And fourth step was that each chemical step involves energy. This energy which is liberated, it is in the form of ATP. And the fifth point was these essential steps are same in both plants and animals. So through with this 5 points. Now, why we need energy? Now for all the life process, we need energy, right? Now among all the life process, just 6 points, major 6 points, try to remember. These 6 points are very important, which will give you a greater emphasis of the need for energy, right? What are those 6 points? First point, protein synthesis from amino acid. Now we need to synthesize protein from amino acid. In our lower classes also we have studied why protein is so important in our body. All our muscle movement and all, they require protein. Protein is for growth. So synthesis of protein from amino acid, that requires energy. Now production of enzymes. Now as I told that the various steps which are involved in the breakdown of glucose to energy, this involves a lot of enzymes. Not only that, starting from the digestion process, it requires a lot of enzymes. So these enzymes are produced from the energy which we get from respiration. Contraction of muscles for the movement requires energy. New production of new cells. The sixth point is to keep our body warm. So what are the 6 major points that we have to remember why we need energy? First point is synthesis of protein from the amino acid. Second point is the production of enzymes. Contraction of the muscles for electrical impulse in the nerve cell. This point I have missed out, sorry. And the production of new cells. And the 6th point is to keep our body warm. These 6 major points, try to remember why we need energy. Now coming to this respiration, animals, you will observe that animals require more energy to maintain the life process. Why? Because of various reasons, which is very obvious. It has to run, movement, due to a lot of extra involvement other than plants. What are these? They have to run, they have to catch their prey for their food, for their living, look after the young ones. Then they have to do a lot of more movement rather than plants. So they will require more energy than the plant. One more thing, students, you will observe that during winter season or when we feel very cold, in fever also, now, we shiver, right? These are some of the weather conditions that we do some excess movement in our body to generate extra heat, right? Now, like we shiver, or when we feel very cold, like we clatter our teeth. These movement, these energy which we get, this is the extra energy which we get, they come from the muscle cells, right? So try to remember this, that these movement, that is the energy which comes from the muscle cells. Contraction of the muscle cells. Now these plants, the excess glucose which we eat lot of food, not only we but all animals, we eat lot of food. Now lot of food meaning the more food we take, the more energy we get. Now what will happen to the extra energy that is being produced through food? That extra energy is stored as glycogen in the liver for future use. So this is how we having a storing mechanism also in our body, where the excess glucose is stored in the form of glycogen in the liver, right? Now, kinds of respiration. There are 2 forms of respiration. One is with oxygen and one is without oxygen. Now you may find strange, how without oxygen? Yes, without oxygen also it is possible. We'll come to in detail. Now aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic meaning respiration involving oxygen, anaerobic meaning without oxygen. Without oxygen is the anaerobic. So these are the 2 kinds of respiration. Now in aerobic respiration, the glucose on oxidation will give you carbon dioxide, water and energy. Remember what I said, 1 molecule of glucose will give 38 moles of ATP. Remember? So all the heat energy that is produced, not all the heat energy is not means all the energy that is got is not all converted into heat energy. Some, these are the chemical energy which is converted in the form of ATP. So energy plus the energy is the heat plus the chemical energy. Both we are getting in the form of energy. In anaerobic type, there is no oxygen involved in the respiration. But exceptional cases where, like when we are running or when we are doing any physical activities, right? So we fall short of breath. We fall short of breath. There also an respiration occurs, but that is known as anaerobic respiration, right? So there the respiration involved. There also the glucose will be there will be a transformation of the glucose and energy will be produced, heat energy will be produced, but without involving oxygen. In this reaction, you will see this lactic acid is being formed. See here, lactic acid. When it involves without oxygen, then the product which is formed is lactic acid, 2 moles of ATP, and this is heat, right? This triangle signature is denoting heat. So this is the end product we get when it is anaerobic respiration, right? Anaerobic respiration, it is a slow process, right? Without in breathlessness or when we are in physical exertion, you will notice that we cannot go on for a very long time, right? We need oxygen, we rest and we get oxygen. We take something if required like water and all to get some energy because it is a slow process and no carbon dioxide is formed in this reaction. See, this is lactic acid formation. In this reaction, we saw that there was carbon dioxide formation. So since there is no carbon dioxide formation or a little different from the aerobic respiration, we will see a slight difference in plants and animals. In plants also, there is anaerobic respiration occurring. In animals also, we have seen just now. But what is the difference between plants and animals? This you have to give a quick clue. The end products in a plant respiration involving anaerobic respiration, the end product is ethanol. Okay, the end product is ethanol. Heat which is produced is more, and carbon dioxide released cause foaming. And in case of animals, we will see the end product is the lactic acid. There is no carbon dioxide formed. The heat produced is less, and since there is no carbon dioxide involved in this reaction, so there will be no foaming. Foaming is nothing but the bubbles which are formed when we take cold drinks. We have seen when you open this cap of a cold drink bottle, the fizzy things which comes out, that is a release of the carbon dioxide. It comes a foam, little bubbles in the liquid. That is called foaming. So as there is no carbon dioxide formation, so there will be no foam. These are the three differences between plants and animals involving anaerobic respiration. Easy? Now, parts of respiration. Now, what are the parts of respiration? Breathing, gaseous exchange, tissue respiration, cellular respiration. These are the four things which you have to understand in order to understand what are the parts of respiration. What does they do? Breathing is what is breathing? Atmospheric oxygen we are breathing in and carbon dioxide is coming out. So breathing is the atmospheric oxygen taken in and forced out of the lungs. Lungs is the organ which is involved in respiration. Now later on in this chapter, we will study about the organs which are involved in respiration. Now these are the next part is the gaseous exchange. What is the gaseous exchange? Oxygen absorbed by the blood. It is carried by RBC, means the red blood cell, as oxyhemoglobin. Now this oxyhemoglobin, this is an unstable compound. Okay, so this is an unstable compound. What does it do? That is the hemoglobin. Hem is the iron part. Okay, this is the iron part of the red blood cell. It combines with the oxy, meaning the oxygen, and it forms oxygen and iron. This together it forms oxyhemoglobin, and globin is the protein part. So oxygen, iron and the protein, they combine to form a unstable compound, that is oxyhemoglobin, and it is carried by the arteries. So there are two types of vessels in our body. One is the artery, which carries the oxygenated blood and supplies to the whole part of our body. From head to toe, this oxygenated blood is supplied by the arteries. And carbon dioxide, simultaneously, it is absorbed as bicarbonates or as carboaminohemoglobin. So since it is the carbon dioxide, it is in the form of a carbonate salt, and this is combining with the hemoglobin and it is forming an unstable compound, and it is carried by the vein, and which is again carried out to our lungs for oxygenation. Now, though I have said that oxygenated blood carried by the arteries and deoxygenated blood is carried by the vein, there is an exception. We will come to it later on. Now, tissue respiration. What is the tissue respiration? Now, capillaries deliver oxygen to the cells or the tissues where oxygen diffuses through their thin walls. So, don't go by the spelling. This is just to, the space is very short over here. For that only I have given a abbreviated form. Through their thin walls. Simultaneously, carbon dioxide also diffuses out by the same thin walls. Now, just I have given you a very short diagrammatic representation. If this is the capillary, imagine this is the capillary, which is a thin tube, which is a very fine thin tube. And here we are having the RBCs, the WBCs, the nucleus in this capillary. Capillary meaning what? The arteries, right? In the red blood cell. This is what is it happening in the red blood cell. Now, and this is the tissue where here are also this nucleated cells are there. Now, the oxygen from these arteries, it is diffusing just by the process of diffusion. Okay, from a higher concentration to lower concentration, this oxygen is diffusing out into the tissue, and carbon dioxide, it is diffusing into the capillaries. Again it is taken back for oxygenation. Clear? Now, cellular respiration is what? That is a complex chemical reactions which is occurring in the cell to release energy from the glucose. Since it is occurring in the cell, it is known as cellular respiration. So these are the parts involved in respiration: breathing, gaseous exchange, tissue respiration, cellular respiration. Now, there is one misconception I will say. We tell that we breathe in oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide, but it is wrong. While inhaling, we inhale both oxygen and carbon dioxide, but the amount of oxygen is more than carbon dioxide. Simultaneously, the reverse process is also true. When we are exhaling out, the amount of carbon dioxide is more than the amount of oxygen. So, we say we inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. So, but actually, both the gases we are exhaling and inhaling. So, with this, we will come to the end of this lecture today. I have tried as much as possible to summarize the main points of this chapter and try to give you the picture of this chapter in a nutshell, so that you can remember it in your fingertips. In our next classes, we will be studying about the phases of respiration. Where does it occur? What is glycolysis? We'll just go into a little bit detail about glycolysis and Krebs cycle, and then we'll go to the parts involved in respiration. So far, if you have any problem, then please comment your queries down below. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe, and join our Telegram. The link is given below. Thank you.